So we're going to look at an AP question, okay, an actual AP question that's asking about continuity. So here, let f be the function defined by this piecewise function. Is f continuous at x equals 3? Explain why or why not. So again, remember the idea that we have to prove that those three conditions are true in order for this to be continuous. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to check. So I'm always going to start with number 1. You can kind of do them in any order, I guess. I always do check if it's defined first. So I want to check out f of 3. All right, so it's f of 3 defined. So I'm going to look at my piecewise function. So when x is equal to 3, we're going to use this top function because that's where it's including 3. So I'm going to use the square root of, I'm going to plug in 3. So 3 plus 1. So I get the square root of 4, which is 2. So that does exist. Check. Okay, you don't, I guess, need to really put the check mark. I just like to do that for me. Second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check if the limit exists. So the limit as x approaches 3 of f of x, we want to see if that exists. In order to see if that exists, I have to check the limit from both sides. So I'm going to do that over here. I'm going to say, okay, the limit as x approaches 3 from the left. So as I go from the left, I need values that are less than 3. So I'm going to use this top function. So square root of x plus 1. So if I plug in 3 here, I'm going to get the square root of 4, which is 2. I'm going to also take the limit from the other side. So as x approaches 3 from the right, I need values greater than 3. So I'm going to use the bottom function. So that's 5 minus x. I'm going to plug in 3 here. So 5 minus 3 is 2. Since the left-hand limit and the right-hand limit are both equal to 2, we know that the limit as x approaches 3 is equal to 2. So that does exist. Check. And then step 3 is the limit as x approaches 3 of f of x, if that's equal to f of 3. So we said that the limit was 2. We said that the f at 3 was 2. So since they are equal, check. So is f continuous at x equals 3? Yes. F of x is continuous at x equals 3. Now there's different ways that you could go ahead and write this. The main thing for the AP exam when they're checking for scoring here is that they want to make sure that you answer the right answer, so yes or no, and that you equate the values of the left and right hand limits. So you can't just say, yes, it's continuous because f of 3 is 2. They want to make sure that you're checking the left-hand limit and the right-hand limit to make sure that the limit does exist. And using limits is part of how you get your points. So if you just say, oh, it's continuous because, I graphed it and it's continuous, or f of 3 is equal to 2. You want to make sure that you talk about all 3 of these points and talk about limits when you're dealing with continuity.